G'day everyone, welcome back to Pete's Investing. Today's April 6, 2023. This is the natural gas price update. The daily and the hourly are still in a downtrend on our CCI 1500. If you're new to the channel, we use that as our key indicator. But you'll notice on the 4 hourly, it's in a bit of an upswing, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But let's first go to the daily. You can see there it made a little bit of a pullback, and it's created these this resistance area. There's also this descending trend line which it broke through that, but again it's trending flat now on this ascending trend line which was drawn back here, and it's currently sort of respecting that trend line there. So I'm going to leave that descending trend line in there for the moment, but there's a few areas here to look out for. Is this resistance. If it breaks above that, that's our key level of resistance before further potential up moves. But overall you can see there on the CCI it's still in a pretty strong downtrend, and we do use that predominantly in favour of instead of the moving average 200 of the price chart. This gives us a bit more early signals for exiting trades or exiting going in certain trend direction. On the 4-hour chart, this is the important one to look out for. You'll notice here we've got a divergence on the CCI, a bullish divergence, whereas the price chart was showing a bearish divergence. Now that hasn't failed yet. So if you're not in the trade yet, in other words, if you haven't gone long or short, I would probably hold off until we get more clarity in terms of where this 4-hour chart goes. If this breaks down to the downside and this divergence fails, then again looking at it all three timelines, the daily and the hourly are in a downtrend. And so if that fails on the 4-hour, then it's going to continue a downtrend and we're going to see further declines in the natural gas price. However, to us to be more positive about going long, I wouldn't be going long, but to be more confident about going long, I'd like to see it break initially this resistance area. But ultimately, I'd like to see it break, or come closer at least, the CCI break above the daily moving average on the CCI. The hourly chart is still in decline, but it's not far off breaking to the upside. So that's a slight positive, but it may just bounce down to the downside. Now, I also did draw these on the 4-hour chart. I did draw this Elliott wave count for those that have been following this. I'm going to repeat it again for those that are maybe new to the channel. There was this 1, 2 and a long 3 wave down, but a very shallow potential 4th wave up, and that barely made it to the 23% retracement of that 3rd leg. So typically you want to see it go as high as a 30 to 40% retracement to be more confident of a 4th leg before taking the 5th leg down. Now you'll notice the 5th leg hasn't really advanced much further. So if this is a 4th leg up, and it may not be, it may just be a false continuation of the 3rd leg. We'll see where it goes in the coming days, depending on where the price goes from here. If it breaks below, then this 5th leg is probably going to continue and play out. Otherwise, this may bounce and actually go higher than this previous level at 30.42 to be more positive. But that may be just the next 4th leg up. On the hourly chart, it's really struggling to die off, isn't it? It's just really stuck on this support area. And I've got 2 support lines here. It's actually formed this. This is like, you can see there the diagonal, just pull out. You can see there's a diagonal ascending trend line. There's also this blue line, this horizontal support area, which happens to be in a very similar area to the diagonal. Now it's really just bouncing up there a couple of times, and you'll notice there it's just touching the 23% retracement of that, between that resistance and that support area. So it's just barely trying to keep its head above water basically, but it keeps falling down again. So a very early stages of recovery would be for the CCI to break to the upside, but ultimately to the price to actually break above the 23% and stay in an upward momentum. But ultimately we want to see it break above this 61%, which is going to show us the early stages of a reversal, and then break this resistance area. So that's in summary. If you're not in a trade, stay out of it for the moment until we see this 4-hour time frame, this divergence play out. Even if this breaks to the upside, I want to see the daily also make further advancements towards its moving average before going long. So to understand how to properly trade using the average down approach, we don't use stop losses. Reference the links in the description below. Subscribe and like the channel. Support us more on Patreon, and we'll see you in a future video.